Hi, I'm Gabriel, and this is Black Forest Comics Weekly Review, Episode 16. And you're probably wondering, where's 15? It's not in my pocket. So what we're going to have to do is give you a retro Episode 15 later on in time. I apologize, but here's 16. Let's get started with this week's comics. First off, Black Magic #1 by Image Comics. This is a cool comic, and it came out in two different covers. You have a standard size comic cover, which is roughly about this size, and then you have the magazine cover, which is a lot cooler. This one has, it's $1 more. So the regular comic, well actually it's $2 more. Regular comic is $3.99, this is $5.99. But this one has a picture gallery, a cover gallery. It also has interviews with some of the writers and some of the artists. So it's worth it to spend the extra couple of bucks to get this one. It's a story about an occult detective who's actually a witch. So she's an actual, honest to goodness, witch who's been alive for centuries, and she's working as a detective. And in this story, someone's trying to kill her. He asks for her, he takes hostages, says he only speaks to her. They call her in, she comes in, she takes care of the hostages, she gets them out. This guy's saying, they're inside of me and they want me to kill you. They know what you are, you're a witch. And she's like, don't make me hurt you. And he's like, ah, and he tries to throw a lighter on her, and she reverses the flame and kills him. She calls up her witch's friends and says, hey, it's starting all over again. And the cool thing about the magazine, it gives you this history of her family and how they all died. So mysterious circumstances. Her family are dying again. She's gonna die again. So that's Black Magic issue #1 from Image Comics. Totally cool comic. I really like it. You should check it out. You should like it too. Next up, Squirrel Girl #1. I know we're all of a sudden jumping into our kids comic. That's my fault. I organized them horribly on there. This is our kids comic choice, Squirrel Girl #1. Squirrel Girl's also in the New Avengers, which is full of younger Avengers. It's got Hulk, it's got Wiccan, it's got the White Tiger Girl and the Chi guy. I'm sorry, I can't remember their name. The New Avengers aren't on my top to watch, to read comic list, but I do read them anyway, just like I read this week's New Avengers. But as you'll notice, they're not going to be in our comics we're talking about this week because it just doesn't draw me in. I'm trying to give y'all something that's at least entertaining, such as Squirrel Girl issue #1, and this is only the second #1 for this year so far. Thanks, Marvel. So this one's about her. Very simple. Squirrel Girl is about her going to school, fighting villains. That's it. And she uses her Deadpool's annotated collection of cards. It has all these infos for all these villains. And she uses that to fight the villains, to find their weakness. So thanks, Deadpool, for your cards. I wish you would produce them in real life. It'd be awesome. Next up, we have Book of Death, issue #4 of 4. This is the finale. This is the end of the Book of Death for the Valiant series. If you've been watching this series, you know that I'm a big Valiant fan. So I've been reading this book very closely. Been reading all the extensions, the death of Ninjak, the death of Man of War, the death of Bloodshot. This one, it has the death of the Eternal Warrior in it. Big spoiler. Eternal Warrior dies. If you know the backstory of the Eternal Warrior, he is attached to the Earth. The Earth literally keeps him alive and keeps him immortal so he can fight for the Earth. And at the very end, the Geomancer is fighting the Dark One, and she's defeating him because the Eternal Warrior takes that final blow and sends an axe at something that was trying to create the other cursed one, and saves the little boy, gives the little boy to the girl, and the little girl, the Geomancer, is telling him, the Earth says you can go. You don't have to stick around anymore. The Earth says you're done. And so he dies. It's very emotional. Eternal Warrior is dead. No longer eternal. He was temporary. He was a temporary warrior. So that's Book of Death, #4 of 4. It's a great book. This is the finale of it. On the back, it has first look at Eternal Warrior #1, because you know what? He's not entirely dead. It's comic books. No one really dies. So there's a new story arc going on for the Eternal Warrior, but he's not on Earth. He's somewhere else where he's happier, as described in here. So read this and then read this. All right. Next up, Art Ops by Vertigo Comics. This is a really cool idea behind this. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, they're going to be art operatives working with art. What they do is they literally take the images out of the art. They create these live images out of the art. Like in this issue, they saved the Mona Lisa because the Mona Lisa is about to get stolen. And so the art operatives are there to save the real painting. They go steal the actual real Mona Lisa out of the painting, out of the frame, and put in another fake Mona Lisa who's willing to donate her time to be forever stuck in this picture. I don't know, it's weird. But the story was really cool. What happens is all the art operatives disappear. And so the main art operative, the director of the art operative, has a son. And her son has a art arm because it was tore off one time by a dark creature painting. And so she and all the rest of the operatives disappear, and she put her son in charge if anything were to happen. So he becomes in charge of the art operatives, and he's going to find out what made everything disappear, why they're after Mona Lisa, why they're after all the art. So that's Art Ops. It's a pretty cool comic. You know, I went into it not expecting anything, and I was impressed. It's not bad. Check it out if you have a chance. Buy it. It's worth buying. All right, something else worth buying. Coming of Rage by Wes Craven, the late Wes Craven. It's one of the last things he ever wrote, was this 4-part series. Only 4 parts, so there's not a huge commitment. You're only buying 4 comics. Coming of Rage. What's it about? In this story, he at the very end he gives a afterword, and it tells how he thought of the idea. It was based on a joke of a vampire, a werewolf, and a witch walking into a bar. That's how it starts, and that's what from there he made a story called Coming of Rage. It's about 3 young people who are these, creatures, and they work together to fight evil. It's not one of his movies. It's one of his comics. It's worth reading. It really is worth reading. I wouldn't say it's on my, oh, wow, this changed my life. It's not that type of comic, but it's still a good comic by Wes Craven. So please buy this one. It's a really good buy. This one and Art Ops are worth it. And Book of Death. Next up, Grayson number 13. Now this is finding Grayson after he's coming back from Gotham, returning to Spiral. And he's learning about his secret crush lady that was following him around and how she's been around for a very, very, very long time. And she has somehow related to the doctor that works in Spiral. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but there's a lot that goes on. And that's really all that happens in this comic. You just these things were explained in a long format. So check it out. It's worth it. If you've been reading Grayson, you won't be disappointed by this one. It's a good one. It's always been good with Grayson. You can't go wrong with Grayson. Next up. And final, Fight Club number 2. Or Fight Club number 2, I'm sorry. Fight Club 2, issue number 6. This one is absolutely crazy. It's bonkers. It tells, so there's Sebastian, and he's going to his psychiatrist. His psychiatrist knows, of course, about Tyler, and he's in a session. And he's telling Sebastian that, look, Tyler is actually a genetic virus that's been passed down from your parents, and now you've passed it down to your son. Tyler is actually a virus that infects your brain. So you don't have split personalities, you have a virus that's making you do something completely different that you are unaware of. So, I mean, it's really great. I've barely explained it. They got all sciencey about it. It was cool. Check it out. It's really worth reading. If you haven't been reading Fight Club, they're only at issue number 6. It's worth catching up. All right, it's been a really good comic so far. All right. So that includes this week. Let's see what's coming up next week. All right, coming up next week, some of the highlights of the main ones that are coming out next week. Amazing Spider-Man number 3. This has been good so far. I'm really enjoying this new look of Peter Parker, how he's the industrialist, how he's the poor man's hero, came up from nothing. Now he's something, kind of Peter Parker. It's been good. Been good so far. There's like 7 Peter people or Spider people in New York now, but it's cool. It's cool. It's working out. Batmite number 6 of 6. This is DC's Batmite. This is the final run for this issue. It's been a cool series so far. Batman and Robin Eternal number 5. Like I told you last time, every week there's going to be a Batman. I don't even know why I say it still. I'm sorry. Bob's Burgers number 5 is coming out next week. If you've enjoyed Bob's Burgers, come next week. You're going to get number 5. Contest of Champions #2. Now, this is based on the video game. The app is downloadable on your phone right now. Check it out. Contest of Champions on your app store. So #2 is coming out. Also, for all the Deadpool fans, he is back. Deadpool #1 is coming out next week. And there's like 50 million variants for that cover. So come check that out. Deadpool #1. Also, Detective Comics #46. Doctor Strange #2. I don't know if you saw Doctor Strange #1. I really enjoyed it. It's a really good book. I like this whole Stephen Strange now. Also, Extraordinary X-Men #1. It's kind of going to be a dark turn for the X-Men. I'm really looking forward to this one. Green Arrow and Green Lantern #46 are both coming out next week. Hangman #1. This is going to be another cool series. So if you have a chance, check that one out. Harley Quinn and Power Girl #5. Invincible Iron Man #3. This, I wouldn't say he's weak. He's more passive. Tony Stark. It's been interesting. It's interesting to see the way it's playing out. So he's not Peter Parker. He's not the Industrialist Peter Parker, but, you know, it's still good. Now, here's another cool one. Ian Fleming, the guy who created James Bond, passed away a long time ago. He had wrote in his house, in his basement, in the cellar, in the dark, there were a whole bunch of different James Bond stories that he had wrote that had never been released. Guess what's coming out next week in collaboration with some other people? James Bond issue #1. And it's going to have some of the aspects from Ian Fleming's James Bond written into it. So it's going to be really cool to check it out. I'm a big James Bond fan. Of course, if you want to know, it's going to be, you know who. Sean Connery is my choice for James Bond at all time. I love him. He's great. All right, also coming up next week, Joe Gollum, Occult Detective #1. All these #1s are coming out. It's great. It's a great time to get into the comics, get started on something, get reading something. Also, Justice League Darkseid War has been putting out #1s, only one-shots. This week, Batman came out. I didn't include it in our to-read stuff, but it was really, really, really good. What happened in the Darkseid War is Darkseid was killed, and all the Justice League that was there at this moment obtained God powers. And Batman is sitting in the Morbius chair, and he's the god of knowledge. It's pretty amazing. And so next week we're going to have Flash #1 and Superman #1 of the Justice League Darkseid War, and they're going to have godlike powers. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's playing with their psyche, the way it's playing with Batman, with Bruce Wayne. It's really good. Klaus #1. It's going to be a scary type of Santa Claus thing. It'll be fun to read. Monstrous #1. Mortal Kombat X #12 is coming out next week. Here's another cool one. If you like big monsters, if you like the Jaegers and you like the Kaiju, Pacific Rim Tales from the Drift #1 is coming out next week. So that's going to be cool to check out. Paper Girls #2. We talked about it a few weeks back. It was a really good comic. I was really looking forward to seeing where the girls went. I'm still sticking to my guns. They're in another world. That's where they got transported to. Paper Girls #2. Star Wars #11 for all my Star Wars fans. Train Called Love #2 by Garth Ennis is coming out. And then here's another cool one. Uncanny X-Men #600. This is going to finish out the X-Men run from before the Secret Wars. So this is going to finish out the X-Men #600. So you need to come pick that one up. It's going to be a little bit more than regular price. It's going to be $5.99, but it's worth it. And again, with that one, the same thing with Deadpool. There's 5 million variant covers for it. It's going to be the last X-Men. So check that out. It's worth a look. Also, last one, We Stand on Guard #5, which has been a cool story about America screwing over Canada. I'm sorry, Canada. We didn't mean to do it. But it's been a really cool story to check out. So check that one out if you have a chance. So, news. What's new this week? What's new this week? It's Halloween. And if you don't have a local comic shop to get to, we invite you down to Black Forest Comics. We're going to be here. We're going to be giving away comics and candy for free, no charge. We're also going to have a feature artist, the Pixel Buster, on hand here doing commissions, selling some of his wares. And we're also going to be raffling off a custom Ninja Turtle blank variant cover. There are going to be some zombie turtles drawn on there by the Pixel Buster. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's a free raffle. All you got to do is come in and check in on social media that you're here at the shop, and you get your raffle ticket. Easy as that. Don't even have to be present to win. So yeah, if you do that, you come get the raffle ticket, check out the raffle, check out the comic. And if you have a local comic shop, Get there, get you some free comics, get you some free candy. Also, we're going to be at Blue Lotus Winery here in town, and we're going to be giving away candy there as well. And they're going to have a number of events. They're going to have a costume contest. They're going to have face painting. They're going to have us, of course. There's Blue Lotus Winery, so they're going to have wine. They're going to have us. Yeah, so check it out. It's going to be pretty awesome. I'm not going to hit on any other news because it's been past day. It's been a really rough day. There's been lots of rain. So we just want to send our prayers and well wishes with everyone out there that's affected. Even our shop employees have been affected. So I'll be here all night. So that's going to conclude this week. Leave some comments. Let us know what you're reading. Let us know what you want us to talk about down there in the comments. And we'll see you next week.